been a minute since I posted on YouTube. We're actually both doing Grom, a little bit of a Grom build session here. I'm doing a high compression piston, cam, and a tune intake, obviously. And then my wife is going to do a cam and a tune and an intake on hers. Last year, towards the end of the year, mine kind of started feeling a little down on power. So I decided that, got too much crap in my garage currently. Decided I was going to do a high compression piston, and I'm also doing a clutch as well. I'll probably just make this one video of building the whole things as far as both of them go. So we'll see how it goes. Tonight we are taking out the ECUs and sending them out to get tuned. DHM has been super awesome with this. I had to call them and order some extra stuff, and they were very helpful on the phone. So we are going to send out our ECUs, and then as soon as those, I believe as soon as they arrive, they send out the cam and the tuned ECU. So hopefully in the next week or so, I get to tear the motor apart. I'm taking all that apart there and put a cam in it and do a piston. So supposedly, according to the old YouTube, the ECU is right here, which...
Hey, you cheated.
How did I cheat?
This is already off.
Easy enough. So your ECU is right underneath of your left side fairing right here, kind of midway back right behind the gas tank. It's mounted right here. Super easy to get off. I suppose I did actually already have this off because at the end of the year last year my Grom actually decided that it was no longer going to run real well. So I had kind of halfway torn it apart, and I ended up finding that I believe it's the oil temperature sensor. The plug on it, normally there's a little guard here, the plug on it had actually broken off. Somehow it looks like maybe a stick went up and grabbed it, and the female part of the plug is broken as well. So I have the parts to fix that, I just never got around to it before it got cold. And I figured I'm gonna have all this apart anyways, so I'll just fix it then. The little girl's dirty. I can't believe these have evap canisters. What are the freaking odds of that? It's even got a little purge valve. So, got both ECUs out. Super simple for the most part. Didn't really film much because it's cold out here. My garage is a mess and I need to clean it up before I actually do some filming. But anyways, we're going to send these out to DHM down in Orlando, Florida. Hopefully we'll see them back in a week or so. For you guys, it'll be a couple seconds. Also, side note, we both bought some pit bikes. Well, she hasn't bought one yet, but I got mine. Little KLX 110. We seem to have a lot of fun with the smaller bore stuff. A little less risky, and honestly just as much fun if you have a group of guys or friends that have stuff. We really seem to enjoy them. But yeah, see you as soon as the ECUs get back, and we will start on the Grom builds. I'm super stoked on this. I've been excited for this ever since I knew I was doing it. All right, the time's come. We're going to build the Grom. See how she goes. I'm going to try and do as much as I can without without looking at an informational video on what I'm doing. These guys over here, absolute clowns. Absolute clowns. I've already got it half torn apart. I had my plastics off because I had this sensor issue last year at the end of the year. And I believe you got to set it to top dead center or whatever that is. So I'm going to pop these covers off and I'll get back to you guys. All right, got the cover plugs off and the front cam chain cover off. Basically, you just turn it over. I don't know if you guys can see that, but top dead center right there lined up with that little mark in the case. And then this front dot lines up with the front of the head. And you just take the camshaft out, or the camshaft gear out, I guess I should say. All right, so you just pop this bolt off like this, I believe. Set it over here with my other stuff. And then you just work this camshaft gear out like this. And then kind of set the chain there and pop this off. Interesting. And then I'm not sure what you do next. I'm gonna have to watch a YouTube video. I'm assuming probably pull the exhaust off, which is going to be this, and I'm not gonna be able to get in there. And get a wrench. Ooh, she's tight. Oh no. Probably gonna be replacing this stud. All right, got the intake off, got everything set. About time to pull the head off. I think you just take these 4 bolts out and then these 2 on this side over here, I believe. All right, so, well, I don't know about all this. Fairly tight. One thing to note when I watched the video on how to install this, I believe one of these washers are copper, which is this one here. If you want to take note on that. All right, and then you just pull the head off. Pretty simple, straightforward. Little tiny valves. Oof, she's seen some days. Just set that down there. And then I believe, pull this gasket off. Actually, I'm gonna put this back in. Look how easy this is.
It's just a baby piston.
And I don't know if you gotta pull this timing chain. Yeah, you do. It's gonna be Where's my 10 at, Chantal?
On my pit bike.
No, it's not. And you got this little timing chain roller, which actually doesn't look too bad. Then you can just slide this out like that. And you got the little piston. Oof. She's been cooked a few times. All right, and that's it. All right, guys, sorry about the noise. Hopefully you can hear me pretty well. I got my garage heating up. We're getting back to the ground today. I got my piston all assembled, got my rings gapped. Luckily, they were within spec, didn't have to do any grinding on the rings or anything like that. Piston all good. Everything's cleaned up. Sorts the head there. It looks a little crappy, but it's just from the parts cleaner. So yeah, we're gonna swap out the piston today. I got my cam installed. New cam in there. and hopefully get it back together. I don't know if it'll be running today or what. I still got to do a clutch in it, but try and film as much as I can. My wife is not here to film for me, so it might be a little bit difficult, but yeah, it's going back together today. Got the wrist pin out on the other side there. Just pushing it out. So you typically wouldn't want to do this, but I'm not saving it, so that's fine. Here's the old piston. Been through some stuff. All right, guys. Here's the new piston. It's got an intake and an exhaust side. This side's gonna go up. I'm gonna put the wrist pin in here, which actually, very nicely, they sent you an extra wrist pin, just in case, I would presume. Shout out to DHM for that. Okay. So, this just kind of slides in here. It's a little groove. They can be a little bit of a pain sometimes to get in. In the past, when I've done builds, I always just, I'll start one wrist pin. Get a pair of needle nose here. See if I can't get it to go in. All right, there it is. In place. I'm gonna take, that was kind of a pain. Once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. I'm gonna take some Simply Lube and just kind of put a little bit in there. I know some guys don't like to get lube in certain places when you're putting stuff together like this. They like to keep it clean. I've always had pretty good luck making sure that everything is well lubed and lubricated before it goes back together, for the simple fact of, if you don't lube it up, your first couple rotations are going to be unlubricated. And when it comes to bearings and how tight the tolerances are on things, that is not a good thing. I've seen what motors look like. You pull them apart and they are, some sort of oil orifice got messed up and it didn't lube something, and it does not look pretty. So I'm just going to take a little bit, put it on the wrist pin here. I'm sorry, I think I said those wrist pin clips were the wrist pins, but I meant wrist pin. Okay, and then we're going to make sure that we have the intake side up. And then we're going to put it in. Put a little Simply Lube in there. Make it nice and lubricated. Alrighty, we'll come over this side. So you want to make sure, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it says IN there. That's going to be your intake side valve. I assume they are different sizes, which is why they want you to do that. Then you're just going to slide this in here, kind of like so. Oh, wow. Yep, probably not like that. You're going to want to go up here. Slide it through the piston. Lift the rod up, get it through the rod, push it in. Put this in. Make sure it says intake side up, it does. Okay, so this just kind of goes in. Like that. Turns out you do it once, you get the hang of it real quick. Let's push it into place here. There it is, it's clipped into place. Make sure it's all seated, which it looks like it is. Give that a little push. All right. There's your piston. There's no play in there, so that's good. It's always a plus. Then I need to clean some stuff up, and then I'll get back to it when I go to start putting the jug on and head on. So far, it's been super easy. I actually enjoy working on these small motors versus car motors. They're super easy to do anything on. Okay, so I got the jug on. I was not able to film that because I'm by myself. You kind of just wiggle it on. The bottom of the cylinder wall, turns out, is tapered a little bit. So you don't technically need a ring compressor to get it on, which is kind of nice. So I'll just kind of work this on like so. I did lube the crap out of it. I'm sure some people are not a big fan of that, but I don't really care if it smokes a little bit. When I first started up, and the jug's on. Okay. So I got this timing chain here. I need to put the roller back in, so I need to go get some stuff. So I'm gonna try and just put this in here, put the chain over it. This is gonna be a little bit fun. It goes just like this. All right, guys, so I got the head on. Once again, I'm kind of by myself, so it's a little hard to film. I'm just gonna snug these up very slightly with a wrench, and then I'll torque them down. I gotta look up torque specs for them. I'm not sure what they are, but I'm just gonna go like quarter turn in a crosshatch pattern. Kind of get things snugged up here. Alright guys, so that bolt gets torqued to 7 foot-pounds. These head bolts get torqued to 18 foot-pounds. Go in a cross pattern to 18 foot-pounds. So kind of already got them started here. I'm just gonna go quarter turn at a time. So I believe they call that a wet torque. All right, guys, I'm gonna try and do the first fire up here, see if she fires. I don't know if she will or not. Oh no, my battery's dead. Hold please. All right, guys, here we go. Hey, it's done. All right, guys, got it wrapped up. I didn't film a lot. I went and rode it for around the block, maybe like 3 times probably. It's super cold here in northern Indiana. But I will say, the little bit that I have rode it, 100% worth the money if you're thinking about it. It's just a DHM Stage 3 kit. It's got the piston and the cam and the tune and an intake. Here she is. She's not completely buttoned up yet. I've got to wrap up that wire and put the little guards on, but it runs. And I will say, it makes it feel almost a little bit of that I've rode it so far. It makes it feel like you think it should feel from the factory. It does rip for what it is, I guess I should say. It's not like super fast, but super awesome. You guys have to wait for the next video to see how it actually rides. Probably won't be for a while because it's super cold here.